Hello, and welcome to the Thirsty Bitches podcast, where we talk about anything under the sun, from books, entertainment, self-help, and even a little spice. I'm Victoria.
I'm Kiara.
And I'm Katalyn.
And today we are here to talk about the newest collection of MCU entertainment, specifically the shows. So,
There's
fair
so
warning,
many.
this will be an all spoiler talk. We will talk about every MCU project that is released up to this moment, regardless of whether it's a movie or a show, because things tie in together. So, if you have not watched everything up to episode 1 of Secret Invasion, because we are recording it right after that episode came out, save this, come back, and then share your thoughts.
Save it. And Katalyn's like, well, I gotta leave. Katalyn hasn't watched it. She has the first episode.
She has very valid reasons for having not watched it yet.
I just want to point out that our listeners are probably like, no fucking joke. Go figure that she has not watched this first episode.
Yeah. At this point, it's expected.
We know.
Your girl forgot.
We know Katalyn's always behind. It's okay. She makes up for it. She's trying her best.
I'm trying my best, guys.
She is trying her best. But yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm really excited. Everybody knows that I'm a big MCU buff, so I'm just ready to get into it.
I'm also a big MCU buff, but like Melissa and Victoria are like MCU buff. Like they've actually read the comics. I have not. I am an MCU movie show buff.
That's fair.
Love that shit.
I like movies. That's about all I got.
Before we get into those, we are going to do our quenchable moments. And if you're new here, a quenchable moment is something happy or exciting that has happened to us over the last week or so that we want to share with each other and with you. So to start us off, Katalyn, what was your quenchable moment? I'm looking at the document right now and I'm just like, I want to know.
My quenchable moment is that I got an arc for the third book in a trilogy.
There it is.
For the other two books. It is The Light Conquering by Emma Steinbrecher, and it comes out July 25th.
I know it was coming.
Excited. This means Kiara can finally read the books. Yes. It'll be finished.
Yes. As we know, I don't like cliffhangers.
No. I have not started it yet. I kind of want to reread the first two books to get back into it. They're back there. So the email is just sitting there unread in my inbox. But I'm very excited to see where it goes.
And you're going to get the physical book once it comes out?
Yeah. I might. The first one I ordered through Barnes & Noble. The second one I got through her shop. So I don't know which one I'm going to do this time. But
that's exciting. I know how much you've really liked the series so far. So
yes.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be good.
Yeah. It's been sitting in my inbox for like a week. It's just sitting there.
You know, life happens and sometimes it's gotta wait.
So, but yeah.
Yep.
That's it.
It's exciting. Love that for you.
Yes.
Can't wait to hear about it. Can't wait to read it myself.
Yes. I will get you fucking read it.
Victoria, what was your quenchable moment?
So my quenchable moment is I have 2 short weeks back to back at work. I am taking this coming Monday and Tuesday off for a family trip, and then next Monday and Tuesday I have off because it is 4th of July week, and I'm just really excited about it. I actually inadvertently had 3 short weeks because I slept through all of my alarms and ended up sleeping through like the first half of my entire shift. But you know,
it happens.
Shift. I say shift very loosely. I'm salaried, so like
listen,
like, my hours aren't like, you know.
I've already had enough talks with Victoria about her sleep schedule up to this point. I'm so close to using what little money I have to fly out to her and train her how to sleep properly.
I know it's really bad. This week was particularly bad just because like of a lot of things going on with being stressed out from work, because my boss had the entire week off, and then her boss was also gone. So it was like flying solo. And then we had like some stressful things happen over the weekend. Like my cat got out. So I stayed up until like 6 o'clock in the morning every day for like 6 days.
I'm not that bad.
And then slept for like 2 hours.
So bad. That is so bad.
I thought it was bad when my kids were giving me shit. My phone goes on D&D at 10 p.m. And I was like, I don't go to bed then. But like, Leave me alone.
I know.
My bed goes on my phone goes on D&D at 9, and I did not go to bed until 6.
During working, when I have a job, when I was working remotely, when I was working from home, I was in bed, eyes closed, 10 p.m., awake at 6, because I like to give myself a little time in the morning to like read. Now I am in bed, eyes closed, 11:30, and my alarm goes off at 7:30 in the morning. Like, I have a schedule, like a bedtime.
I was up to like 1 this morning.
It's for your like your cortisol, like your stress levels. A lot of the times, if you're not getting enough sleep or your sleep schedule's all fucked up, like it fucks with like how your body holds weight. So you got to be really careful about that.
I'll sleep when I'm dead. Anyway,
okay.
Kira, what's your quenchable moment this week?
So my quenchable moment, I don't know if you guys saw, I just changed it on the doc.
I did. I watched.
Yeah, that is not what it said.
Like, what is happening?
Well, I don't know what the other thing was.
You'll get that. Don't worry.
Okay.
But my mom is coming to visit.
Yay!
She is flying in on the 2nd, and she is leaving on the 7th, which is the same day that Emily and I are headed out to our friend's bachelorette party. That is in Sonoma. So my mom's gonna be here for like almost a whole week. She starts her new job on the 17th, and so she wanted to she knew that this was like the only time that she could really take the time to come up, and so she decided to do it. I'm excited to see her. I'm excited to show her around, and she is really excited to like see everything here, because she's always loved the idea of living up here, and so maybe I can get her to move.
Maybe you'll get someone to move.
I'm determined. I can get at least one person in my life to move up here. I think it'll be a success. So, but yeah, my mom's coming to visit. She'll be here for 4th of July. And so we're going to try and find somewhere to watch some fireworks and stuff too. So,
yay.
Fun.
Yeah. That'll be fun. But on to some other fun things. These MCU shows. So thus far, when they started releasing, they did connect in. So obviously, like WandaVision had immediate connection. Falcon and the Winter Soldier had immediate connection. Loki had immediate connection. And then it started to shift a little bit, and we got things like Moon Knight, which we have no idea what's going on with that. And it's the same shift started happening with the movies.
Yeah.
So like,
listen, I would like to point out, because of course we're going to have this discussion about like things not fitting in, but I have been saying since Guardian 2 came out, that end credit scene where we saw the introduction of Adam, and we had no idea. Like, we had no idea. We're like, when's he going to come in? They completely left that out. Like, they're not going to touch on it again. And then we finally got it like years later. We're just like, oh, like there he is. So
it is.
I feel like Marvel plays this game where it's like, we're going to give you this information, but we're not going to touch on it again for like 5 years.
Yeah, it's very much
it's going to be
the
there.
long game. Well, I think the difference between the Adam Warlock tie-in and like potentially Moon Knight is with Moon Knight, there really is nothing for us to play off of. At least with like Adam Warlock, we knew, okay, it's a space thing. We know Guardians are still out there. Like, they ventured more into space after the blip. Like, we know that we will see it eventually. It's just a matter of when. With Moon Knight, it's just like,
see,
it's here. It'll happen. We have no idea where and what the context will be. Just nothing.
Everyone thinks think that's like that Moon Knight and Eternals fit really well together. I personally think that we're going to see Moon Knight come in with our anti-hero group.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see him show up there. Because he's a good person, but he's the person that's like kind of ruling over him isn't.
I think we're specifically going to see him again, mostly the third altar, once we start getting the new Daredevil series. Because he's like a very underground, like ground level sort of character. So I think once we start shifting into that aspect of it with Daredevil and with Echo and with those shows, then we'll start to see that play.
Yeah. I also want to mention, like, you know, he's a very ground level person. I feel like all of our new characters, especially the ones that we've gotten in the shows, are all ground level, which is how we started in the beginning. You know, Black Widow was ground level, Hawkeye
Yeah.
was ground level,
Well,
Captain America was literally in the ice ground level.
He was below the ground.
Yeah. The only two that weren't, the only three that weren't technically was Thor, but he was even a part of any of us until his daddy was like, "You're grounded." And then the only other two that weren't is the Hulk and Iron Man, because Tony was like, fame.
Yeah, Tony's always been
fortune.
very open from the beginning. Well, and if you do watch like the original Hulk movies, like even he was still like very base level until he started having the whole thing with Abomination, which is like a whole other thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see it happening now again with the movies, especially after No Way Home, because he's now back to being your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He doesn't have like the enhanced suit. He's got his callback to the original comic book accurate suit, like the inspiration from Andrew and Toby. Like you can see them kind of shifting back into that while still also trying to maintain this like outer space, very large scale scope of things. And that's going to start easing into that even more with Secret Invasion and going from Mrs. Marvel to the Marvels. So
Listen,
it's like this weird juxtaposition that we've got going
I
on.
just need at least, I just need Happy to know who Peter is. Like, he can fall back in love with MJ. Him and Ned can become friends again. But Happy?
Yeah.
Happy needs to know that he has that connection
Yeah.
to Tony with this child. I need it for the both of them.
Yeah, well, it was really sad when they went to May's gravesite and Hobby had his little speech about Tony, and he was like, "Yeah, I had this really great friend," and I was like, "I'm gonna kill all of you this."
I'm like,
was the
how are
worst.
we supposed to come back from this?
Yeah, but anyways,
Who do I write about this emotional trauma?
yeah, the show. So obviously, like I said at the beginning, Secret Invasion just started airing. We've seen the first episode. Well, Kira and I have seen the first episode. Katalyn will catch up eventually, and it's.
I feel like if you haven't watched, and honestly, if you're listening to this, you should have watched it all by now. But if you haven't watched the first Captain Marvel movie, I feel like you're going to be really confused.
Oh,
going
100%.
into this show.
You, in my opinion, you have to watch
You
Captain
have
Marvel
to.
in order to understand that, because the whole point of Captain Marvel is the introduction of the Skrulls. Like that was the whole purpose of it. So,
and that's why I make that note about like how it's going to feed into the Marvels, because that's obviously Captain Marvel coming back in. So
I think this is going to be the push for Fury, like really going into the Marvels, because you can see, especially in the trailer that they released, when he's like on Saber, and then when he goes with Monica to see Kamala, you can see how different he is as a person in that trailer versus what we just saw in episode 1 of Secret Invasion. He is worn down, exhausted, tired. Like there's something inside of him that is broken.
He looked tired at the previews.
I just want to make a note on this episode. So obviously, like, we know with the trailers for the Marvels, like, he's kind of getting back to who he was.
Yeah.
And he's building the Marvels up like he did when he was building the Avengers up. But there was one line when he's talking to Talos in this episode, and Talos is like, "I'm pretty young." I'm like, I haven't even hit my midlife crisis yet. He's like, "What was your midlife crisis?" And Nick Fury's like, "The Avengers." And I'm like,
yeah, no, it was, what was your midlife crisis purchase? Because you know how like men, this stereotype of men when they go through their midlife crisis, they buy this big expensive sport cars, and Talos was like, "Yeah, what was yours?" And he was like, "The fucking Avengers, of course." Which I'm waiting.
So funny.
I am waiting for him to drop an F-bomb. I know it's going to happen. It is Samuel L. Jackson. If it doesn't happen, I would be shocked. And
it's a PG-13 show too, right?
I don't care. Yeah, you get one in a PG-13.
They get one.
Which is why it was so shocking when it happened in Cartoon, because I forgot.
It was so funny. It was so funny.
It was very funny.
It was perfect.
It was very well timed. But yeah, I think that Secret Wars is leading up to the Marvels, because he's so broken right now, which I'm really excited to see, because yes, we did kind of see some of the fallout from the blip, but we didn't see how it impacted Fury at all.
Mm-hmm. We
Because
also got
the next time we saw him was in Far From Home, and it wasn't even him. It was
and
Talos
that's what I want
masquerading
to
as Fury.
I want to touch on is that we got clarification like that was him, that wasn't Fury, because at this point up until the show, like it was all speculation. We're just like that wasn't him, like he wasn't on the planet, like that could not have been him, like it was just
Well,
not.
we saw them at the end of the movie like
Yeah,
change into dolls.
and so we're just like, wait, what? And but like now that we have that, like yes, like this was Talos,
Like
this was
he's been
not Nick Fury, he's been off planet this whole time. So I'm just like, okay, so like everyone's theories were right, like so like where has he been, what has he been doing?
He's
We
been
know
on
that
Saber
he's
the
been on
whole time.
Saber, but like I have a hard time believing that he's been building Saber this whole time, because it has been so long and so much has been happening that I feel like he left the planet for something else, and then the US government was like, we need you to help build Saber. And he's like,
Maybe. I don't know. Just
I
with
don't
the
know. I just like,
conversation he had with Hill leads me to believe that he's been building out Saber this whole time, because he was talking about how he was trying to escape from his crisis of faith, as he said, which
and
it
that's
had
why
to
I
be a
think
massive crisis because
and that's why
he
I think
was
he left originally with Captain Marvel, and then they asked him to help build Saber because he wouldn't come back to Earth, but that they needed his, obviously, like he is one of the greatest minds when it comes to you know, all of this stuff from the past, the Avengers, that they need his help with building it because he has this knowledge. I don't know. I just feel like he was trying to run away from his problems, and the only way
obviously.
to get him back is to
Well,
kind
I
of
mean,
keep him
it's the
off planet, but
same.
he's still within planet.
Yeah, it's the same crisis I think that Thor went through. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how could we lose? How did we lose?
Yeah.
Like, he knew he had assembled this team specifically for this reason. Everything was going really well. The team worked together well. They had added even more heroes into this. Like, he knew that they should be able to handle this, and they didn't. And not only did they not handle it, there was a gap of 5 years before any of this was quote unquote fixed. And then also in fixing that, he lost one of the pillars of this team that he had assembled. Like, Tony was it. Tony didn't start this. Carol started this. But for us and our knowledge and our sense of thing, Tony started this. So, like, he's been shaken. Like, a part of him is broken. So, like, I mean, it's crazy to see someone like Nick Fury respond in this way. And I'm just really excited to see them delve more into that, because I'm sure we're going to see like precisely him, like maybe not precisely him leaving, but we'll get more in depth about like him leaving and what happened between now and then a little bit more, especially like how he was feeling during the blip and post blip. It was jarring to see the scene again where he got dusted.
And it was like, I feel like it was an extended version of that scene.
Yeah,
it
felt a little bit longer.
I feel like in the film, like in the movie, it was very quick because the camera was panning from him to Hill, and you see him drop, you know, his pager for Carol. But this one, like the camera just stayed on him, and we got to like watch him like actually
disintegrate.
Yeah, and so I felt like it was more potent because you're just like, God, like we keep going back to the blip, like we just keep going back to it. And I feel like there's something more to it than if we keep touching on it. Like it's not just this moment when half the entire universe was gone.
Yeah, I think with Fury and him getting into his feelings surrounding the blip, I think we're going to get more insight into what it was actually like for the people who were gone.
Yeah.
Because like even with Peter didn't talk about it. Strange didn't talk about it. Like none of them have discussed like what it felt like. Were you just there and gone? Did you feel anything? Like, do you know like what happened? So I'm hoping with Fury we'll get more of this information.
And I think that's something that again, Marvel does this, where they give us this information. They don't give us all of it, and then we find out more about it down the line. And so I think it'd be really interesting to kind of learn more about what the blip was. But this also brings up another question, because you brought up Peter. Fury was off planet.
Yeah.
And now that we know that Miguel remembers who Peter is,
it's the people in our universe. They have to be in our they have to be in 1999.
there's
It doesn't matter if they were off planet.
there's just a lot of stuff happening now with the multiverse and how powers work that I'm like, I'm not gonna believe it until I see it at this point. Like, I don't trust Marvel. The comic books may say one thing, but the creators of the movies and the shows, they are changing things as they go
Yeah,
to make
they
it
are,
more
but
viewable. So at this point, I'm just like, the comic books might say like, yeah, nope, no one really knows who Peter is, but like the movies and shows might be like, this one person remembers, and I'd be like, like Loki. I fully believe that Loki is gonna remember who Spider-Man is.
I mean, maybe he was in the quantum. He could have been in the quantum realm when it happened.
And the quantum realm is like in between, but like smaller. It's weird.
But even then, with Loki being in the quantum realm, he still doesn't know like Peter. Like he knows, but he doesn't.
He knows who Peter. Like he's seen Peter without his mask on, so like he'd be like, no, like this is Spider-Man, and I'd be like, no, it's not. And he'd be like, no, I swear to God, this guy right here is Spider-Man.
Like, I know who I
just don't know for him and his personality type that he would like care enough to be like, oh yeah, by the way. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's anyone in universe would have forgotten.
Or maybe I feel like he would do something to see if he sees Spider-Man with his mask on, he would say something about Tony to Spider-Man, or say something about Tony.
Yeah, everybody knows like Spider-Man himself. Like they know him, they know he's familiar with Tony, that he was friends with it. Like all, it's strictly.
But I think it's gonna. I feel like that would be a really interesting thing for him to like, you know, because obviously Peter was in the intern program, and then Spider-Man worked with Tony, but because of Thor, Loki will have a better understanding of Tony and his resources, and I feel like Loki will like say something to Peter / Spider-Man, and it'll be like, oh shit, like Loki like remembers.
Know. I feel like if anybody is going to cause that spark, I think if there's going to be any sort of like like anything to cause people to remember, I honestly think it might be Talos. Because he was the one that was with Peter when everything was happening with Jake Gyllenhaal. I can never remember what his character name is. Jake Gyllenhaal. Everything that caused the reason behind him wanting to forget. No, it's not Morpheus. Mysterio.
There you go.
Because he was like the last person to interact with him besides Strange, outside of the immediate circle. I don't know. There's so many possibilities.
And that's the thing, like the Skrull are on Earth though, so I'm just like,
and we don't know like how their chemistry works, because they can shift from person to person, and they can
live
memories, and
they can live
on
nuclear plants. The nuclear like meltdowns don't affect them. They're living on like Chernobyl and shit. Like,
oh shit.
So the show is based in Russia, Katalyn. Okay, so they're in Russia.
Yeah, they're in their nuclear plant.
The Skrull are living on an old nuclear plant, not Chernobyl, but like on like because the fallout doesn't affect them.
Yeah,
interesting. Okay,
growing their special
Emilia Clarke
Skrull food.
Ugh, love her so much.
Excited to see her.
She plays Gaia, Talos' daughter.
Talos' daughter, yeah.
Who we see as a child when we're watching the Captain, who was
Marvel.
And that's what I'm intrigued to see her and Monica. Because they were friends as kids.
Yeah.
I would love to see them cut. Like, I feel like Nick Fury is going to bring Monica in at the end of this show. Maybe like Monica, Gaia, or he's going to take Gaia up to Saber, and she will be working with Monica. Like, I feel like they are going to connect again at some point, because they were like so like at the end of that movie, like they were friends, like they hung out, like they were close. And so I'm curious to see like what happened, how this worked out, because they know each other.
Yeah.
And so I think that'd be really interesting to kind of like see that kind of fold together again.
Yeah, it's an exciting time with Secret Invasion. What I am particularly excited though for is more of the street level shows. I'm really excited for Echo. I love that character, especially seeing her come to grips with who actually killed her father, which was very exciting. Maybe we'll actually find out whether Kingpin is dead or not.
Mm-hmm.
My money's on not, but we shall see. I'm wondering too with the Echo show if we'll potentially see more from Hawkeye,
Mm.
I love
maybe,
him so
because
much.
Echo got her start for us through the Hawkeye show. So
Mm-hmm.
will we see more of them? Because we know we're
And
gonna
are we
see
gonna
Elena.
see? Are we only going to? Are we only going to see our new Hawkeye, or will snowmobile accident Jeremy Renner decide to come back at some point and be like, "I'm here. I'm doing. I'm doing it."
Well, I don't know. I think if we do see like a Hawkeye, it'll be Kate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's getting her start. Will we see Jeremy Renner? Maybe. I don't
Please.
know. I'm
We
sure
all
he probably
know.
will come back. He's still
We
doing
all know.
stuff with
I
Disney, so
love. Hawkeye was one of my favorites. I love Jeremy Renner. I want to see him come back. I think he does a really good job.
yeah. I don't think we'll see Elena again in the shows for a hot second because she's going to be doing the Thunderbolts, which is very exciting. I'm really
excited.
excited for the friendship that's going to stem between her and Bucky. I think they're going to be besties. It's the only thing that I want in life.
Ugh.
God, I can't wait for him to
And
get
then
so annoyed with her.
2, I'm wondering if we're going to see Matthew at all because we saw him a little bit in She-Hulk. I can't remember if we saw him any in Hawkeye. I don't think we did. But Kingpin is his villain. So, like,
Echo
are we
and
going to see...
Daredevil probably will.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in the same area.
They're
So are we
they're
going to see
both in
them
New
all?
York, and Spider-Man's in New York. So I feel there's why is New York the place? I don't understand.
Because it's
It is.
the city.
And is She-Hulk, is she going to move out to New York because her
No.
and Matthew like talked about opening like this superhero thing? I don't know. I feel like she's in Los Angeles just like Tony was, but he ultimately moved to New York anyways, so I feel like we might see her shift over at
Maybe.
some point down the line, because if they're
Maybe.
going to be a centralized unit, like if they're doing it at Avengers 2.0, they all have to kind of be
Well, there's a West Coast Avengers too, is the thing. There's 2 separate. There's West Coast and there's also Young Avengers, I'm still on the camp that's happening. Still in the camp that the Young Avengers is happening. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Everybody is there.
Yeah.
The only person that we don't know of is Young Hulk or Hulkling.
Yeah.
So like everyone's there. That's all I'm saying.
I just had to look
What
up
I
the
would
shows
be
that were coming
curious to see though too, once we do get the Daredevil show, is he gonna remember being Spider-Man's lawyer?
out. Ooh.
He didn't meet him as Spider-Man. He only met him as Peter Parker.
That's Pete Parker.
Mhm.
Yeah. Interesting. I had to look up when shows were coming out, so I have it pulled up in front of me.
Really excited for that.
Yeah, Loki's coming out October 6th, and I literally cannot wait.
Yeah. Echo's
And
November
they're-
29th.
There are so many questions I have for it because we just got Quantumania.
Yeah.
And we basically got like they basically said, yeah, the TVA is probably here. And so I want to see, because it was that and it was Kang. We got the TVA, Quantumanium, and Kang all kind of like. And so I feel like with Loki, we're going to get more answers, but I would also love to see if we got Ant-Man cameo in there at some point, because they can go down there, and Loki just being like, you talk to ants? Just Tom Hiddleston being like, what?
Yeah.
And then Owen Wilson's
wow.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Them rebuilding their relationship. I'm so excited for that because at the end of Loki, like, Morbius has no idea who the fuck he is.
Yeah.
All we know is that a Kang has taken over. We don't know which one.
Is it the Kang that was just defeated in Quantumania, or is it a different one? That one that's like one of my question.
Which we'll see, because who the fuck knows what's going on with Jonathan Majors.
And, if you watch, I haven't watched the second season of it, but if you watch the first season of What If, you meet the Watcher. And I'm waiting to see when we start getting the Watcher in some of these shows. And not like seeing him, but just like getting
like knowing that he's there.
little inklings.
But
Because
isn't
you
he
kind of
technically there though?
he's always there.
He's just
always
not
there.
interacting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so I'm waiting for us to kind of start seeing him interacting a little bit because of how the first season of What If ended. Obviously, I need to watch the second season, but
yeah,
same.
I'd be curious to see how that is, like, that with the other Doctor Strange from that universe is going to be affecting everything else.
Yeah, we'll see. It's an exciting time for the shows, and I'm glad too that they're spacing things out more.
Yeah.
I'm also excited to see if we're going to get potentially a Black Knight tie-in, because we had that little tidbit.
Kit Harington!
I was like, Black Knight. Who's Black Knight? And then you said
Kit Harington! I love that
now
man.
we've got more of those Game of Thrones people, so
listen.
Yeah, we do.
Listen. I would love to see a cast reunion on a Marvel stage. Marvel screen, Game of Thrones cast reunion. Just like, I want Gaia to walk up to Kit Harington's character and be like, I'm about to stab you. And being like, I didn't mean to do it. It was a past life, Gaia. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Whatever I did, I'm sorry.
So, I don't know. There's just so many things that could happen. I don't know. I'd be really quickly to go back to the Watcher. I'd be really surprised if we don't see something from the Watcher, because the last we saw with the end of What If, the Watcher had broken his oath and was like, okay, I'm involved now. I can't just sit and like do nothing. So
like, how much of what we've seen since What If came out is because the Watcher is involved and we just don't know it?
I don't know.
Like,
who knows?
That's the interesting question. It's just like, how much can I believe at this point is just, fate, and how much is it the TVA and the Watcher manipulating things?
Yeah.
Because we know the TVA and the Watcher can manipulate situations.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Which they have very different techniques of going about this. The Watcher is like, I'm just going to pull shit from where I needed to correct this. And the TVA is like, well, literally, we
wipe
have
your
to
memory.
take everything.
Men in Black style.
Yeah. Yes. Full zap your memory and everything. Man, I don't know. There's so much going on. I just want to say that the WGA is in the middle of striking right now.
Yes.
We do support the writers. Like, obviously, we are very excited about these shows and we're excited to see them, but we want to make sure that the writers of these shows are being paid the way that they need to be paid and the way that they deserve to be paid. So there's a big chance that at this moment in time, yes, we do have rough dates for these shows coming out, but that could change, because I know specifically the Daredevil show has been shut down quite a few times.
Blade was too.
Blade was also shut down.
Yeah, the reboot.
So, of Blade. And they did just push the dates back for a bunch of movies. So,
which I feel like has to do with the writer's strike, but also has to do with why am I blanking on his name? The CEO coming back to Disney.
Oh my God.
Iger?
Yes.
Bob Iger.
Bob Iger.
I was like, I don't know.
Bob Iger coming back into play, because the old CEO, he was just like trying to throw shit out and just making as much money as possible. Yes. Iger's like, no, we have to make the best possible content that we absolutely can, and that is going to take time. And so even before the writer's strike, we saw things being pushed back from him. He was like, we're going to push this out. We're going to push this out. We're not going to try and throw as much out as we were before. He's like, I know you guys want answers, but we need to give our teams time to build these things in. But I think with the writer's strike, kind of seeing that happen more. But also, I feel like I personally haven't seen as many writer strike content when it comes to Disney stuff. Now it just might not be coming up on my page, but
Mhm.
I haven't been seeing as much content from Disney writers as I have from all the other writers. And so it makes me want to
Yeah.
believe that the Disney Foundation is actually taking care of their writers more than any other foundation is.
It's
Now, I'm not saying they're
hard to
doing it
say.
well. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that they're better than these other
Well,
companies.
it's hard to say, and I know that this is a massive tangent, but it is important to talk about when we are talking about these projects. Disney is a part of the AMPTP, which is the big conglomerate of all of these platforms.
Mhm.
So it could just be that because Netflix has been companies like Netflix and HBO and
Listen,
all of these
Netflix
other
has its own
companies that
fucking
have been,
issues.
yeah, then since they've been so gung ho about abusing their writers as a general, I think maybe Disney is getting pushed to the wayside.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I can't speak to them
I
doing
will
more for their
say,
writers. There's definitely the hope there that they would,
mhm,
but we can't know, especially because they're a part of the AMPTP.
I will
So
say that the show Willow was pulled off of
yeah.
Disney Plus, which I was
Hmm.
really sad about because one of the main actresses, Kit,
Mhm.
is played by Ruby Cruz, and she is one of my old YNG kids. So I was,
Oh.
yeah, yeah. So
Aw.
I was like watching it, and I'm just like, why does this person look so familiar? I'm just like, what the fuck? Ruby hasn't been in anything else. So I'm just like, I can't figure out. And I just kept watching it, and I looked her up on IMDb, and it said Ruby Cruz, and I'm like, oh my fucking god, like this is one of my YNG kids. Like I have photos with her. Like I would watch her go up
Aw.
and like battle with other like delegations on like bills and stuff. Like I spent 2.5 years with her. I'm just like, I am so fucking
Aw.
proud. Like, what the hell? But so to see it come off of Disney Plus was really disheartening because like I wanted her
Yeah.
to have that moment. But
Yeah.
her counterpart character is played by the actress that I'm blanking on her name, but she was the leader of the 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 people trying to become super soldiers in
Oh
Falcon and
yeah,
Winter
and Falcon
Soldier.
and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, so
Well,
the girl
Flash
with
is in
like,
there too. The guy that plays Flash is in there too.
but the girl who has the
The red
orangey
hair.
curly hair, like red,
Yeah.
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 Oh
It
yeah.
plays Kit's counterpart in Willow. So
Mhm.
um it's like it was really nice to see all of these actors and stuff. And I'm sad that it got pulled, but that's a tangent.
Yeah.
But I think that's like
But
the
yeah,
only thing I've seen with Disney and the writer strike.
yeah. I just wanted to touch on that really quick because it is going to affect how these shows come
Mm-hmm.
out and what changes could happen in the writing because of the strike or because of the fact that Iger is like pulling back and being like, guys, we need to take a break because the Infinity Saga, 10 years we had with that.
Yeah.
And then it was happening that the next phase was going to be within like a 2 or 3 year time frame, and it was just way too much. We
It
were
was
getting way too much at once,
the
which
amount
part of
of
it was COVID, yes, obviously, but
Mhm.
like it's like started to space out a little bit, but it still kept going. We're like, all right.
It was
Mhm.
when they were at what is it, DC2 or whatever,
D
the
D
Decon
D23.
D23. It was when they were there and they were giving us everything
The
from
timeline.
now until the end of phase 6. I'm just
Yeah,
like,
the last two Avengers
that is
movies.
so much happening.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
There's so much coming out. I'm just like, I don't even know how I'm gonna be able to keep up with this.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. But yeah,
I'm
they
glad that it was
pushed back
spaced
a
out.
bunch of
Do
stuff.
I want those two Avengers movies sooner? Obviously, I want to see all these people coming together because we're
Yeah.
getting so many new fucking characters. I
Yeah.
need to see them coming together, but at the same time, like
Need to know.
I'm glad that it's pushed out because it gives time to build these storylines. It gives time for the actors to
Mm-hmm.
recoup after filming movies or filming shows. It
Mhm.
gives not just the actors, but like the people in the background, producers, writers, all of them to like take the time they need to do the work that they need to produce
Mm-hmm.
good content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Especially because the shows are important now. Because
yeah.
before, the shows didn't matter. I mean, they did. Like, they tried. They had the initial run with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where they're like, okay, it's going to loop in. We're going to, you know, keep connected. Like, they had Samuel L. Jackson come in as Fury a couple of times. They had the fallout from Winter Soldier happen.
Listen,
and then
I
it was
blame
just like,
Netflix and the CW.
woo! And then it just went in its own direction, which I thought was great. And then they tried again with the Netflix Defenders. And they were like, it's gonna loop in, but not really. It's kind of its own thing. And now they're like, okay, yeah, we're bringing Matthew Murdock back because everybody fucking loved Daredevil. It was fantastic.
So I'm
which
waiting.
Also makes me wonder, like, are they gonna pull any of the other Defenders in?
That's what I was gonna say.
Jessica Jones.
I was gonna say Jessica Jones. What's his name?
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage. Like,
Iron
there's
Fist.
a lot of other people like that were a part of this.
Yeah.
Now the people I don't want to see come back was, what's that show? Failed show. Aliens in Hawaii.
Oh, oh God.
What?
Inhumans.
Okay,
but here's the thing.
But it'd be so funny because the evil brother that sent them down there is also a Game of Thrones alumni.
Okay, but they had the actor who played Black Bolt in Multiverse of Madness. He was Black Bolt in that. Okay, but here's the thing.
And that's why I think
that
are they gonna bring the dog back?
So I think that they could potentially bring the Inhumans back in, and I'll talk about this more when we do our other MCU episode. I don't know that they need to bring it in as a show. I think they could bring it in the movies, and then maybe build upon it later. But we'll talk about that more.
They definitely need to redo that one because it wasn't.
Yeah, so like the shows up to this point, up to before WandaVision came out, didn't matter. So it was like whatever. But now they matter. And,
yeah.
You know, I'm excited. I think the only show that like still matters pre WandaVision is Agent Carter. Because like
we saw her in Multiverse, we saw her in What If.
Yeah, but the thing with
I feel Peggy, we're gonna see not her specifically, but I feel like we're gonna see, obviously after the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we know that her descendant is evil now. When that's gonna play in again, we don't know. We have no idea where that's going.
So no, well, the reason why I say like I think her show is the only one that could still like matter is because it happened so long ago, like timeline wise, that it doesn't, whatever happened in that show won't affect anything that's going on right now, like the way Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. would, or the way Inhumans would. So like they can still technically keep that in the lineup. But yeah, I'm excited for the new shows. I cannot wait to see Echo. I cannot wait to see Daredevil. I can't wait to see what the fuck is going to happen with Loki, because
literally the way we left Loki, I was like,
I didn't realize it was the last episode, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was the only one out of the like initial like jump of shows where the ending was just like, this is definitely not the ending. Like at least with like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we kind of had like a clean end that would like easily transition into a movie, which we know it is. WandaVision, obviously it wasn't an ending that we wanted because where the hell is White Vision? We don't know. But you could see how it like kind of blended into the movie that it came out in. Was it done well in my opinion? No, I did not want that, but that's my own opinion. Everyone has their own opinions. I didn't like it because I love Wanda. I love her. But I think with Loki, it was the first initial one where we didn't have like an ending point where we were just like, okay, yeah, this could work well moving into the rest of the universe.
Yes, Victoria.
Agatha. We forgot about that show.
Oh yeah, Agatha's coming out.
Oh my god, I'm really excited about that too, because I think it's going to
showing us her backstory.
Whether Wanda is actually we're gonna get more on her backstory, but I think it's potentially clarifying whether Wanda is actually dead.
I think I would hope so.
I am of the belief that she's not. So
nobody, no death.
Nobody. Listen, the amount of times that I have had to tell that to people, I'm like, there's no body, like, no, they're still alive. They have to be.
Mhm.
And they're just like, no, we saw that. I'm like, no,
Where's
I
the
don't
body?
believe it. Where's the body? Like, obviously, like, the way that she would have died,
Listen, yes.
it's easy to believe that she died.
Yes.
But also that now we have all the multiverse people, and we have the Watcher, and we have Agatha, so I feel like something's gonna happen.
Yeah. I feel like this could be potentially the gateway into her becoming a Nexus being, because I still feel like she should be a Nexus being. That's just me. But what do I know? Nothing in this
What do
scheme of
any of us know?
no thoughts head empty. I'm just very excited for the progression of events. I'm excited to see things finally start to click and tie in. We're seeing that more and more with the newer movies and the newer shows coming out. And yeah, hopefully there's nowhere to go but up from here. So we shall see. But if you guys want to share your thoughts on any of the shows that we talked about, please make sure to reach out. You can hit us up on Instagram, you can hit us up on any of the platforms that we record on. Please make sure to use the Spotify Q&A feature now. That's very exciting. You can also email us at tbp.safe3c@gmail.com. But yeah, for now, Kira, will you take us out with an affirmation?
I will. So today's affirmation is, I am the best at everything I do, and I gain widespread recognition and notoriety for my accomplishments.
Very nice.
Very
Thank you.
nice.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. Make sure to tune in on Tasty Tuesdays and Thirsty Thursdays for all new episodes. Make sure to subscribe and follow our socials listed in the description. Make sure you like, rate, and leave a review for the podcast to help boost us across platforms. Helps more than you know. Have a lovely day. And remember, stay thirsty, bitches.